Hey guys, Fabulous here today, and welcome to my new speed build. This house is called Stone Street, which I actually realized before is the last name of the actor that plays Cameron in Modern Family. Now, that was not planned, and that just seemed to happen. So, let's move past it. But this place is called Stone Street, not after the actor, and not really after the house either. I don't know why it's called Stone Street. It just is. Uh, I'd also like to inform you that this is my second time recording this narration because for some reason I spent 20 minutes recording the first one and it decided it didn't want to save. So here we are on the second take, and the second time is always better. Or at least I hope it is. Right, I guess I'll tell you a bit about this house, and enough about my woes, which I've experienced, and I'm very sad. No, I'm not really. All right. So this house is something different from my usual. It's a kind of, well, I tried to make it a spacious family home. It ends up having 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. So it's not exactly for big families, but because the house is quite spacious, you could probably fit in more beds and more bedrooms as well. And I also don't use any sort of building cheats. So like I don't use constrained floor elevation. So it's a very kind of basic house that's easy to expand, and you really should have no trouble changing it to how you want it to be honest. So that's pretty good as well. And I try to make it a very sort of player-friendly house in that because it's quite spacious. So there's a lot of area to sort of look around and move your Sims around, and quite easy. So it's not cramped or anything. There's a lot of room. The rooms are all quite big as well, except one of the bedrooms is actually quite small, but we'll brush over that fact like that's nothing. But yeah, so anyways, this is going to be a family home. Out the back now I'm making a trellis. I've become obsessed with them lately, so you might be seeing some more of them very soon. I quite liked how it turned out in this house anyways. I mean, I don't necessarily think it fits this house quite right, but I like it, so it's in there. I mean, you can always remove it if you want. It's really not that hard to move. Uh, but yeah, I put it out the back over the kind of little patio area. It's quite nice, I think. And I also have that terrace you see up the top of the back of the house, which actually comes off of the master suite, which is pretty cool, I think. They have like a nice little sitting area out there. You can do whatever you want out there. It's quite nice, I think. So yeah, this is, like I said, this is different from my usual stuff. So it was a bit more challenging to me because I normally just build like the typical modern house, and it's like modern designs and kind of crazy designs more often than not, or large houses, that kind of thing. So I don't normally build like a family type of house. So this is most certainly a challenge to me, one that I'm not used to doing, anyways. Uh, and I did enjoy it, anyways. And I'm quite happy with how it turned out. Like as I was building it, I was kind of doubting that I thought it was any good, and I was thinking at one point I was thinking of just scrapping it and starting a different house entirely because I wasn't quite sure if I liked it or not. But I kept working on it, and it finally turned into something that I liked in the end. I think the building kind of it spans over 2 days, like in real time. It's like a 2 hour build. Like the video is 2 hours, which I've kindly sped up for 20 minutes, which is still quite long anyways. It's about 6 times speed, roughly. But yeah, so it took over like 2 days. It was 2 hours. But the reason it took 2 days, like normally I could just sit down and do it in the day, but it was because I was feeling unsure about it and I wasn't sure if I liked how it was turning out or what it was becoming, because I thought, I just wasn't sure if I liked the styling. But I kept working on it, I kept going away at it, and in the end, I'm happy with the result. But yeah, so let's talk about what we're doing at the moment. I'm using these little rocks to create kind of little sort of curvy flower beds, which I think are pretty cool actually. I don't do like the rest of the landscape until the end, but at the moment I'm creating these little curvy flower beds which kind of like contrast the sort of straight walls and all the sharp corners and that kind of thing, which I think is pretty cool because you don't really get nice little curvy things in the Sims all the time. So I thought it was quite a nice contrast, and in the end, when I shove heaps of flowers in them, they look pretty cool, and it looks quite nice against the house. It adds a lot of color because the house on the outside is quite dull, which, like, I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean the colors are dull. Like I chose those colors on purpose, which of course you can change if you really don't like it. So that's not really an issue. But Anyways, like all the colourful flowers really contrast that and make it look quite nice in the end. At this point, this is where I'm thinking, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing here. I couldn't get the right windows. I couldn't get it to look how I wanted it to look. And I didn't think it was going well. Very soon, I think, is where it kind of... I stop building and come back the next day. And I take a look at it again and see what I can do. Because I didn't like out front where those 3 big windows are right now. I didn't really like how they looked. They actually do stay there, but I put a bit more like detailing around it. Kind of like a little... I do a little roof over it in a bit, which you'll see. Which I think sort of helps us break up that wall, because it's a bit flat at the front. So I think that kind of makes it look a bit better in the end anyways. Another thing that I did in this house that was different, that's different to most of my other places, is I use actually quite a bit of stuff pack and expansion pack content. Because normally I try to stick to base game as much as possible and don't use any of the expansion content. But I thought I'd give it a go. I use some of the stuff, and it was, I do like all the stuff. The reason I don't normally use it is because I find it more challenging to just use base game stuff, and I like that. But to me, the challenge in this slot was making a family home, because I don't normally do that. And especially in this style of house, well, it's attempting to be a suburban kind of house, which is what I'm going for here. And nothing too like fancy or completely unbelievable or anything like that. It's supposed to be a believable house, something that isn't like totally unrealistic anyways, like something that maybe an average family would have, is kind of what I'm going for here. So that was my challenge, not necessarily limiting myself in terms of the items I use. As you can see here, that's what I was talking about before. I put the roof and the kind of little balcony out the front of those windows, and I think that really helps bring the front of the house up to where I wanted it to be. And that's at that point I was happy with the changes I made to the place, and I think it worked quite well. And I think that's the last little building change I make there. I just kind of shift that wall back a bit and make it fit in a bit better. And I've changed the windows here as well because they were getting cut off by the roof. At first I didn't care about that, but it wasn't really sitting well with me, so I had to change it. And yeah, and I'm just playing around with all the windows, getting the ones I like, because I don't know, if you can't find the right window for the house, it just doesn't work, in my opinion anyways. You really need that window. It's got to be there. What else to talk about, really? I don't know. I did 20 minutes of this before. I'm spending a total of 40 minutes speaking about this house, but I don't know what to say. I constantly talk before. Now I'm just talking about not talking. Oh god, this is terrible. This is going downhill very fast. Okay, I'll talk about this little terrace thing up here. Oh, I'll talk about what I said before, actually. The terrace up there, I didn't necessarily think actually suited the house that much, but I thought it was a really nice addition to have it coming off the master suite, because I think a terrace like that is more suited to a larger home, like a larger family home, one bigger than this, obviously. That's what larger means. I don't know why I'm explaining that to you, but because this is I don't know, this isn't a small house, but it's not a large house either. And I think terraces like that, coming like on top of roofs and kind of stuff like that, are more suited to a larger house. But I thought it looked really nice, and fitted semi-okay, I suppose. It's not necessarily appropriate for the place, but I liked it in the end, and it creates a really nice sitting area for the master suite and all that kind of stuff. Like I think I said before. I don't know if I've said things in this video or the one I tried to record but failed. I don't know. I apologize if I'm referring to things I haven't said. But yeah, the layout of this house actually turns out quite well, I think, because all the walls are quite flat. There's not a lot of funky, weird shapes going on in this house, so it makes the floor plan quite easy to work with. Especially the downstairs. The downstairs turns out to be really roomy. There's a lot of space to work with, and I think it allows for a lot of customization from you guys as well. And I can't remember if I said it in this video or not. I apologize if I have. But because of that, because it's all kind of flat and straight and easy to work with, you can easily add on to the house and build more rooms quite... I don't want to say easily again, because I said that like 3 or 4 times just then. But it's quite nice to work with in terms of adding on to it. Which I think is a good feature in a house anyways, because a lot of the things I build often require a lot of messing around with constrained floor elevation to get it to work. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just makes it harder for those of you who don't know how to do it to add on to it, I suppose. And that kind of sucks sometimes if you're trying to make a house bigger and you just can't. But anyways, another thing I talked about last time was at the back of the house, which we really don't have a good view of right now. The back wall of the house is completely flat, and a lot of the time I'm really unhappy with that. Like a lot of my houses, I'll say, "Oh, I had a trouble with this wall. It was too flat, and I just didn't like it. I had to do all these weird shapes in it to make it look good." But in this one, I tried to do a bit different because it's a family home and it's not necessarily supposed to be fancy and out of this world and that kind of thing. That's why I put the patio out the back and then the trellis on top of that with all the flowers and kind of air quote, vines on top of it. And that really broke up the back wall because the back wall is, as you can see, right, you can kind of see there, is flat and it follows it directly up on the second story, which a lot of houses in real life are just like that. And so I decided, because houses are like that, and this is a Sims, like I don't necessarily have to make it exactly like real life. You can make it look a bit better. I put that trellis in there and that roof to break it up in between. And also the terrace on the second floor above the kitchen, which is I'm doing right now, also helps to break up that back wall, which is, I think, a really good feature anyways. And it still gives you a really nice interior of the house. Like you can see that room there is really square, which is good because it gives you all that space to work with. Whereas a house with weird shaped walls and all that doesn't necessarily do that, even though it may look really nice. I'm not tooting my own horn or anything. I'm just saying that if it does look nice, it can often have awkward shapes to work with on the interior, whereas this doesn't, as it's just like a regular house. And I think I did pretty well on the outside anyways. Well, I'm personally happy with it and how it turned out and how I've tried to overcome the problems that usually I don't like about kind of family homes anyways and building them in The Sims. And that I think sometimes they're a bit too boring. And this isn't necessarily exciting by any means. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm just trying to say I did my best to make it not boring, I suppose. And just then you saw I was playing with like the hot tubs and stuff because I discovered some of them. Now this kitchen is, I think, is like a mix between a contemporary and a traditional kind of kitchen. I say contemporary because the counter design is quite contemporary in that, but the wood on them is quite traditional as well, and so is the house. The house itself is a more traditional kind of suburban style. I'd also say it's kind of, it reminds me of an English house, like a British home. Not necessarily the floor plan, but the exterior bricking and the colors of the exterior kind of. I'm not sure whereabouts, but it reminds me of the houses in Harry Potter on Privet Drive, like in the movie when you see them. All that kind of brown brickwork, the same kind of color that this house is, and that's what it reminds me of, anyways. And I suppose you could say that was somewhat of an inspiration for this, but it wasn't really. But I think the color probably was inspired from that, anyways. Instead of just using a standard kind of brickwork on it, I went for something like, not a bit different, but something that isn't just standard plain bricks, which I think looks quite nice anyways, and it works quite well. Anyways, yeah, so I'm about to start doing the rest of the house. I can't remember what I work with first. Like, I just did the kitchen, obviously. I think I do possibly the bathroom next. I do. I'm quite happy with this bathroom as well, because it's quite a large bathroom, which I'm not used to doing anyways. Like normally my bathrooms are actually quite small as well. I don't know. A lot of my houses I do like are quite small to work with, and this just has a lot of space. Like like half the time I wasn't actually sure what to fill it with, and I don't know. It was just weird. I don't know. I'm just not used to doing a big house. It's not big. It's just spacious, I suppose. Which is quite interesting, and that was definitely one of the challenges to me, having such big spaces, and all of that. But yeah, anyways, I'm happy with this bathroom. I used a couple of expansion pack items there, like from Showtime, I think it was, and all that kind of stuff. which I think the bathroom set looks really nice. So I really like those items. So I was happy to use them. That's my favorite sofa from late night. I always use that anyways. I don't know. I just really love that sofa. It's just that classic kind of nice. It's like a mix between a contemporary and just a regular sofa. Like it's not too modern and it's not too traditional. I suppose it's a nice in betweener. Speaking of which, In Betweeners is a great show / movie. Haven't watched it in a while though. Good stuff. I don't know, looking back at it now, if I'm necessarily happy with the coffee tables and end tables I chose there. I think they're too fancy, I think, for this place. But that's okay. I also added a grand piano in this living room. I don't really know why. I just thought it really classed up the joint, and I thought maybe one of your Sims could be very musical and play the grand piano. So, yeah. It's in there for you if you want it, or you can just sell it straight away. And yeah, I did a little work area there with a nice computer. Nice wheelie chair as well. That chair is really weird though. It only has 4 wheels. I don't think I've seen a wheelie chair that only has 4 wheels. If yours has 4 wheels, can you please tell me? Because from what I've seen, pretty much every chair. I don't even. Does mine have? Hang on. Let me check. Yeah, most chairs have not 6, 5 wheels. I don't know. I just haven't seen a 4-wheeled wheelie chair before. Yeah. Anyway, that's the second living area there, which has the TV in it. I didn't want to put it in the other one because I thought that was more of a entertaining area for like parties or like something like that. Because the back doors open out to the barbecue area, which will be done later, and it also it's kind of near the kitchen. So I thought that'd be a better entertaining area than putting a TV in there. So that's why I had the second living room at the front of that place for the TV and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I did some outdoor lights as well, which I don't normally do either. So that was quite interesting. I thought it actually made it look quite nice at night time. And that little hedge there that I removed as well, I did like the look of that, but I thought when I put it in the car, it just seemed really, really cramped, and it didn't seem like a good idea to keep it there. I did like it though, but it just seemed unrealistic to put it there. Yeah, I just changed the banister of the stairs as well to be a more appropriate one. There, my screens go to sleep. I really got to move my mouse more often when I'm recording videos. Yeah, so I'm using a more sort of homely style of banner, I suppose. To be honest, the part that lets this house down is the 2 single bedrooms. Those are the ones I wasn't happy with. I'm just never good at single bedrooms. Like, I can do a master bedroom pretty well, I think. But single bedrooms I'm never really that good with. But, I mean, I'm okay with that. I'll work on it. I'll try and get better at it anyways. But anyways, out the back here, here's a terrace. And I did a seat, like a modular seating area here that kind of wraps around the outside of there. And I thought that was a pretty cool idea. Like, I think I saw it on... It was definitely one of the building shows, like... It was either like Grand Designs or Property Ladder or something like that, where they had like a terrace and they put like a seating area around it, or they redid the seats or something like that. I think it might have been Property Ladder. I think they did that, so I thought that was cool. I might put that there. I did want to put like a hot tub, but I noticed I didn't have any hot tubs that sit above the ground. They were all they all go into the ground, which kind of sucked because that meant I couldn't put one there. I thought that would have been perfect for the Master Suite Terrace, but. What are you going to do? That didn't exist, so I didn't use it. Yeah, so just finishing up the furnishing here, doing all the bedrooms, which turned out alright. I mean, I figure if you're going to download and use this house anyways, you're probably going to customize it to how you want. So, I don't think... Well, like the most customized area, I would say, is probably the bedroom, is where you might change the colors of the sheets, colors of the floors and walls, and that kind of stuff. So... I don't think it matters too much in that respect, but I still don't want them to be crap. Having said that, but I just don't think they're very good. Like they're alright. They have stuff in them, but I don't know. They were the worst part for me personally. But other than that, I'm very happy with how this lot turned out. Yeah, that's the second bathroom upstairs, using the exact same items from downstairs because I like them very much, and I thought I might as well match it to the rest of them. But yeah, so very happy with this house. It turned out really spacious and plenty of room and really easy to work with as well. I don't know what else to talk about. We've only got like a couple minutes left. So yeah, just going around. I put curtains on all of the windows in this place, so you have your privacy. You're doing the barbecue area now. Yeah, there's a nice big dining table that goes out there, which could be good for having some friends over, having a nice party, all that kind of stuff. Should be quite nice. And then after this, I just finish off the landscaping. I put in all the little shrubberies and flowers, and I also do some terrain painting as well to make it look a bit more realistic. So I just shove a bunch of flowers in there, here, there, and everywhere, all different colors. And like I said a long time ago in this video, they definitely add the color to the house, because without them, the outside is quite brown. And I think they add a really nice contrast to that, especially because the flower beds are curvy as well. The colors and the curves of the flower beds really contrast the house well. I think it works quite well together anyways. So yeah, that's the house done there. And now we go into a few screenshots of the place. That will show you a bit more detail of it. And the download link is obviously in the description below. So you can click on that and download it and do whatever you want with it. Feel free to change it completely, bulldoze it, destroy it, blow it up. You can't really blow it up. You can burn it down, I suppose. Start a fire in the kitchen, burn it. That could work. What else could you do to destroy it? You could just do stupid colors in it. Maybe just make everything like bright green, or pure red. You can make it pure. You can make everything white. I wonder what that would look like if you literally made everything in the house pure white. Can one of you do that and take a picture of it? I want to see that. I want to see what everything looks like if you just make it white. Everything white. Anyways, I'm going to leave you there. And I'll see you in the next video. I'm Flabberleaky. Thanks for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.